So even where I used to work before, I used to be like the only female developer there.
Let's go. I did go Ghana to catch a good time. So this pretty girl with a beautiful smile. She got me stuck in.
All right, guys, so welcome back to the channel. So I have a special guest on the channel tonight, and her name is Miriam. Miriam is a new recipient of the Global Talent Visa. Miriam, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
How are you doing? And are you still in Nigeria or?
I'm fine. I'm not in Nigeria. I'm currently in London. Yeah, I think I moved around July.
Around July. Oh, that's long.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So how is London? How are you finding the place?
Still trying to settle in, but then it's fine. Yeah, like new work and then trying to settle in the new city. Yeah, but it's fine in general.
You're blending easily. It's not really a difficult place to blend in. Moreover, you're a tech lady, so it's not going to be hard. Right. So videos like this, I make videos like this so that it's just kind of an awareness so that people will understand more of the visa. People that are kind of afraid to apply for the visa will just feel like, oh, we have heard like 2 or 3 people speak about it, what they use and how they apply for it. So they will have the courage, you understand, to say, okay, I'm going to apply for this visa. So that is why I just create videos like this. So it's just going to be a very short one and we'll be done. So first of all, I would like to know, like looking at your career progression in the tech industry, you understand, what have you been doing before you have the impetus, you have the courage to say, okay, I'm going to apply for a Global Talent Visa in the UK. Not just like you're in the UK already, like you applied directly from Nigeria and you got it.
Okay, so for me, in Nigeria, I've been working as a software engineer.
Okay.
So for over 3 years, 3 to 4 professionally, like 3 to 4 years working as a software engineer in Nigeria. So that has been what I've been doing before, like deciding to apply for technician. So and I think I learned about technician last year around November. Yeah, I think I watched a video, like I saw your video and I saw someone else's video. I watched about 3 videos of people who got the Global Talent Visa. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something I can do. But what I was thinking of at the time, what like I was scared of, I would say, is because most of the people I've seen that got technician have like a startup. they have something already. Even maybe if like the side thing that they have was actually really successful. Some of them have YouTube videos, YouTube channel that are actually successful and they're already making like a lot of impact. So for me, I'm like, okay, I don't really have this thing going on that that is really successful. My life has always been a core software engineer. I've been like at the back of a company working and trying to build products and everything. So but going through the requirements of the application and like on the website, so I thought like, okay, software engineer can also like apply, but then even though if you are not the owner of the product, like you don't have a startup and everything, but just make sure like what you've built is more into digital product. It's like a digital product company. So when I checked the technician website, I could tick that, oh, I work in a digital lab, because the company I was working at in Nigeria and some of the projects I've done in Nigeria were actually digital like led products, like mentioned on the website. So what I had to do was just to tie the impact of my work with the company that I work with. So I'm not the startup, I'm not the founder, but what I had to do that stood out for me was just to link my work impact, even if I was not really out there, that I'm the owner of this company and all that. So I just had to link what I did, like in the company and the product that I've built, any project that I worked on. I just had to link it together with the impact that the company have achieved. Yeah, I think that was how I could come up with those 10 evidences that they required.
All right, so I understand that you work with a digital tech company as a software engineer actually. So did you build anything for them, or maybe it was just your work impact that encouraged you to come up with this? Like, did you build any software application, or it was just maybe working with them, collaborating with them, you now use it to develop your evidence?
Yeah, so I don't have like any personal project or product that I've built. So most of the evidence, I think what really helped me was I contributed more on open source projects. So that was like one of the part of my evidence that I provided. So apart from working in the company that I work in Nigeria, I have a program that I joined a while last year for open source, and I contributed heavily to like an open source application. So that really helped also. And then I did some volunteering work because women in tech. So I used to do like this whole volunteering, Django Girls. I have some volunteering stuff I've done in the past and I'm still doing. So that helped. So I provided that as my evidence. So this evidence is together, like with where I worked, contributing to open source and the volunteering program I did. Yeah, where. But and I did some other projects too, right? So there are some other not core where I work. So I had some projects that I did that were not where I worked, if that makes sense, in Nigeria. So I added that also as an evidence, because there was a time there was a startup program that UK startups. Yeah, that was the last 2 years actually. So just side projects that I've done for some startups companies, and yeah.
Yeah, actually, we do understand that when you're applying for this visa, there's what they call the strong evidence, and what you just maybe add up to combine to maybe reach up the 10 pieces of evidence that they are looking for. So if you're looking at maybe you're kind of a weak part of the evidence, was it still connected to digital technology?
Okay, I wouldn't really say it was, because I had 3 evidences I provided. The first one was the strong one, which was more digital led. The second one was also more digital led, but the third one, which I would say maybe is like the weak like the weakest evidence I provided, was not really digital led. It was more on like volunteering and stuff that I've done, like with open source and attending programs, speaking on events. Yeah, that wasn't really core digital led evidence. Yeah.
All right. So I would like to know, what were the challenges that you encountered, maybe during the application stage or after the application, or maybe when you were trying to gather this evidence? What kind of challenges did you encounter?
I think the biggest one is like imposter syndrome. For a while, I decided to apply for technician like around November, but I couldn't come up with evidence. I was thinking really hard of evidence for almost 2 months. And even when I had the evidence, I was still like, is it really strong enough to prove that I've really worked in this place and for me to get endorsed? So I think that was like the biggest one. But then when I started thinking about it, I realized that I have all these evidences lying around, like it's just for me to put them all together.
Right.
So yeah, almost all the time I watch videos, and I think what helps me overcome the challenge is like watching videos of people, like reading blogs. I was so stuck like trying to research. At a point I got tired and I'm like, okay, I'm going to come up with all these evidences and submit, and if I don't get it, I'm just going to try again, because if I don't submit, I'm just going to get stuck, like always like, oh, review this for me, and I might not even end up applying. So what helped was like, okay, I had like an initial state and I reached out to you for review. And I reached out to others also, some technicians, some people who got technician for review also to help me like check the application. Yeah.
I mean, you just collected pieces of information from different people that have gotten the visa and you add up.
Yeah, not pieces of information. I think before reaching out, because if I didn't even gather the evidence and everything, I don't think anyone, because everyone is busy.
Yes,
so I gathered pieces of information over the internet, like reading blogs and the kind of video that you do, like to understand how this works. So after like watching over the video and like doing my own research, I decided to so I compiled the application, I gathered my evidence, and then I started reaching out to people like you when I reached out. So I reached out to people to like help me review my application just to make sure that it's fine.
All right, thank you. So I would like to know, looking at women in tech, because now you're kind of a women leader in technology. So looking at women in tech, you discover that maybe a lot of girls, I'm gonna use Nigeria as an example, are afraid to get into tech. How did you got started into tech, or how can they probably overcome this fear of getting into tech? How did you do it your way?
For me, I landed in tech more via accident. So I didn't really know much about tech before going to the university. Although I know I wanted to study architecture at the time before studying computer science. So at home, I have. Sorry.
Did you study computer science in?
Yeah, I studied computer science.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. So at home, when I was asked like, okay, what do you want to study? You want to go to university now? Then I was like, okay, I want to study architecture. So everyone was like, architecture, that's like a male-dominated area. I don't think that is like good. So why not take computer science? Because computer science looks more it looks more like the path you want to go in, but is really not male dominated. And according to them, the people that decided for me at home, they didn't even know anything about coding. They were more like, oh, okay, people that study computer science, they come up, I think they do other things apart from coding to them. So when I started like university, then I was introduced to programming, and that was it. And I just found myself loving programming and just working with programming. So what you mentioned is true, because most of the times when I go to events, like even in school, even after school, most of the time I'm mostly like the only girl that.
You're the only girl that is doing this thing. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I'm the only one. So even where I used to work before, I used to be like the only female developer there. So that looks like really strange to me. I know that tech is male dominated, but expressing it from my own self was like, okay, this field is really male dominated, because and what's going to be my advice for people to, like, for girls who want to study tech or to excel, just for them to do it? I don't think you should be afraid to do it. Just do it as long as you want and you're passionate about doing it. I think you should just go for it and just try to find as much community as you can, because that really helped me. So try to find community. There are a lot of communities now in Nigeria, in Africa, and even in the world, like supporting women in tech, where you can share your stories, your struggles, and people are just willing to help.
All right, I think you have even answered my second question. I wanted to ask, how can young girls get into this field? I think you've talked about community and in Nigeria, and you've also mentioned that they should just start, because that's the most important thing. If you don't start, you're not. If you keep looking at it as if it's a strong or a difficult field, you cannot start. So if you can pull out the fear and start, you are 50% done. Right. So I would like to ask, what's like an advice for anyone that wants to apply for this visa and the person is still thinking that it's difficult to get it from Nigeria, because people, when they're in the UK, they feel like it's a bit easier, which I'm not disputing that. I somehow believe that is true. But for people that want to apply from Nigeria and they are just afraid, like, I'm getting a global talent visa from Nigeria, and how is it gonna be possible? So what can be your advice to people that want to apply from Nigeria?
I will advise that I don't think you should be scared. That's the first thing. I don't think you should be scared. Like, oh, don't have that opinion that, okay, if we apply from Nigeria, it might be really difficult, because if you have that opinion, like from the start, it might really affect your application. You might start thinking like, oh, okay, I might not really even get it because I'm applying from Nigeria. So I don't think you should have that. I think you should apply. Just make sure that your application is strong enough. What I mean by strong enough is you fill in all the criteria that a technician wants. Like, the first thing is what they usually say about you working in a digital-led company or a digital-led product, all that. So I think that's like the main criteria. Yeah, just make sure you pass those criteria that you mentioned. Like, just make sure you do your research, and if you compile all your application, when you're done with the application or your evidence, you can reach out to people to help you review, because that sometimes that you might not, there's sometimes when I was doing mine, there are some things that I overlooked that I was not even sure of, and then when I sent my application for review, then I realized that, oh, okay, this is really important for me to update. So yeah, just don't be scared.
Right, do your research, reach out to people, because it's an area that you don't understand much. You need to seek people guidance and see what they have done. There are a whole lot of videos on this already. So like you said, watching video helps a lot, and a whole lot of things. So for anyone that wants to apply for this visa, just go ahead and apply. It might not really be hard like you think. It might just be an easy process the moment you start. Thank you, Mariam, for coming on the channel and sharing this insight, helping a lot of people to understand more about the Global Talent Visa. Thank you, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome.
I hope you enjoy your stay in London.
Thank you.
Thank you, and take care. Bye.
Bye.